I'm back. This is Marlon Saunders on the Marlon Saunders Show, our hometown station here in Santa Clarita, AM 1220, AM 1220, KHTS. I'm loving being here. I love this station. You know, I forgot to tell you, we moved. So if you're looking for us to be out in Canyon Country where we were, we're not there anymore. We're now down in Newhall, on Main Street in Newhall. And here's the cool thing. Well, we're still doing a few things to get the building the way we want it to look. But I'm right in front of a window. You can actually stand outside and watch us live as we do the show. The only people out there now are a few people who are lost and a random bird, and I saw an ant. But listen, coming up in the next few weeks, I'm going to invite you to come hang out. Come down here. Just, bring your Frosted Flakes and stand outside and just eat your cereal and stare at me. I'm cool with that. And so, anyway, I just wanted to let you know that in case you were still looking for us in our old location, we are not there. We're in Newhall now. I'm excited, and I know you are if you've been listening to the show this morning. We're sitting with the mayor. Oh, my gosh. Really? She gave you her phone number before we went to break. She said, email me, call me. Let us know. We want our residents to be involved. We want our residents to have a role in moving our city forward. This is like the coolest mayor ever, the coolest city council members ever. Did I tell you, by the way, this kicks off a series of interviews that I'm doing with our city council members. Lorraine West is coming up. Bob Keller is coming in, and I'm excited. I'm getting educated and having fun and educating you all at the same time. Before we went to break, Mayor, we talked about a couple of the upcoming projects that we have. Would you mind taking a moment and kind of talk about the local economy, and then some of the projects that we have as far as the parks or even public safety, or I really want to talk about that high-speed rail, but start wherever you want to start and kind of let us know what's going on with our city.
Well, you can tell a city when it's run well by how it does in the bad times. During the recent downturn in our economy, I'm very involved with the League of California Cities, which is about 480 cities all up and down California. And at the meetings, they would lament. A lot of them were going bankrupt. They didn't know how they were going to be able to keep their heads above the ground. And they say, well, how's Santa Clarita doing? And I would say, well, we're doing just great. We have a balanced budget. We are being able to invest in capital projects in our city, building new libraries, building new parks. Our Parks and Rec programs are doing just fine. We're able to invest in our law enforcement. So we're doing good. And they look at me like, oh my gosh. So Santa Clarita now has the reputation of being one of those cities where people look up to us as to how do we run our government and how can they run theirs in order to be able to have a booming economy, even in bad times. So I'm very, very proud of our city council, the view that we take. We never spend more money than we have. We have a great city manager who makes sure that our money is managed well so that in the bad times we don't have to worry. We did not lay off one employee. We did freeze. We put a freeze on it. We didn't hire any new people at that time, but that has passed. But we didn't lay anyone off either. So I think that's truly important. Another important thing for the economy is to make sure that your older established neighborhoods are well represented and that you invest dollars into those neighborhoods. I mean, you take Old Town Newhall. You talked about the station now being in Old Town Newhall on Main Street. You take a look at us now as to what we were 10 years ago, and you see a world of difference. We invested in the landscape. We completely did the new streetscape. We've invested in a brand new 30,000 square foot library. We are investing in having community events down here. Every Thursday we have what we call census or art walks, and we're investing in Old Town Newhall. We're looking forward to potentially having a new Lemley Theater move down the street. When we had redevelopment, we bought a complete block because we knew that we wanted to do something cohesive that would help this area continue to grow. And so that is a prospect for a new development down there with the Lemley Theater, with retail, with some second-story apartments or condos. We're hoping that it's condos. And businesses are moving into Newhall all the time.
Can you talk a little bit about the post office in Newhall, keeping the post office in Newhall, or what's going on with that project?
Right. Well, for people who are aware of the Smart and Final that is on Lyons Avenue, next door to it was the Newhall Post Office. Well, the post office lost its lease because Smart and Final wanted to expand, which, by the way, you need to go there and take a look at that store. It's just wonderful. And so the post office moved the temporary post office, it was supposed to have been temporary, over to Stevenson Ranch, which is not in the city. And I heard from a lot of residents who relied on the Newhall post office that they didn't like that. So I asked our city manager to contact the powers that be with the post office and say, you need to have that post office in Newhall. And so they said, well, we're going to take a look at different locations, but we're still going to keep the Stevenson Ranch one on the books. And I didn't think that was a good idea, so I kind of asked that we wage a campaign, pretty much to just let the residents know what they could be losing if they don't get involved. So residents got involved. They sent in postcards, they sent in letters, they made sure the post office knew the value of keeping it in Newhall. And the people at the post office says, we have never, ever had a community come together to say what they wanted to be done. So they did decide to put the post office back in Newhall. It's very close to the old location, and I'm very proud of that campaign in order to keep the post office here in Newhall, to serve the Newhall community.
You get things done. Oh my gosh. That's what I love about you. Okay, you guys, you have to hear this. Explain to me, or rather explain to our listeners, the movement behind the Whitney and Ellesmere Canyon preservation. You have to, please explain to them what that's all about, or what that was all about.
Well, people who have lived out here for quite some time are aware that back in the 80s, late 80s, the Los Angeles County, along with a landfill developer, wanted to put the world's largest garbage dump in Ellesmere Canyon, which is at the gateway to our city. It's located pretty much across the street from Eternal Valley. And they were going to take 2,400 acres of U.S. forest land and privately owned property in order to make that the world's largest garbage dump. It would have been seen from the valley floor, all over the valley floor. It would have risen 2.5 times the height of the Washington Monument above the ridge lines.
Wow.
There would have been 2,400 trucks, 24 hours a day, back and forth, bringing everybody else's garbage out here.
Wow.
And I volunteer for many organizations before I was ever on the council, and heard that this was a done deal, that there was nothing we could do about it, and I didn't think that was a good idea. So I put together a coalition, 3 ladies, we sat together in my dining room and put together a nonprofit organization called SCV Canyons Preservation Committee, and it would take a really long time to tell you everything that we did over 25 years, going to Washington, D.C., going to state, getting our city council at the time, which was a new city, all of our business folks together in order to fight this thing. And now, 25, 30 years later, we do not have a garbage dump. We have instead the property which is was purchased by the city through other environmental entities and now belongs to the public. It will never be a dump. It will never be anything but open space, which then in turn preserves Whitney Canyon, which is the canyon next to it, which is also now open space in perpetuity owned by the public, and then preserves Placerita Canyon. If Ellesmere Canyon would have fallen, Whitney would have fallen, Placerita Canyon would have fallen, this would have been a much different city and area. So once again, I'm very proud of the fact that it took hours and hours and hundreds of people, but we fought that thing and it did not happen.
when is the movie coming out? Oh my gosh, you're such an inspiration. I mean, you get things done. I hope you guys are enjoying and learning all at the same time. I have to go to. I'm so fascinated. I really am, and so inspired. I want to when this show is over, I just want to go march or do something. I'm going to break, you guys, but we'll be right back with our mayor, the mayor of Santa Clarita, Mayor Marsha McLean, right here, hometown station, 1220 AM KHTS. I'll see you in a few minutes. This is Marlon Saunders on the Marlon Saunders Show. I would say probably the best show we've had. Listen, just so you understand the magnitude of our special guest today, Santa Clarita is now ranked the third largest city in Los Angeles County. You have Los Angeles, you have Long Beach, and then you have us, the Santa Clarita Valley, that's ranked number 3 largest city. 210,000 residents and counting. The mayor of our city sitting right next to me in the studio, just talking about how we can create a better environment, atmosphere, a better city. I have learned so much. I mean, one woman, if you've been listening, you've probably been as blown away as I am. One woman decided that she was not going to stand for certain things, put some support system in place, and made things happen and changed our city. I jokingly said going to a commercial, when's the movie coming out? But seriously, we need the Marsha McLean story to be on TV, to be on the big screen. She is amazing, an inspiration, young and old, male and female, children, adults, all ages. What an incredible motivator and inspiration. I'm honored to have you on this show to tell your story. And you guys, Santa Clarita could have been a very, very different city had this one person not said, nope, I'm not standing for certain things. And here we are today, third largest in LA County, and just booming. Now, I want to make sure we talk about, before we go, this high-speed rail that's trying to come through the city. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can. Back in 2008, there was an initiative on the state ballot that told people that there was this miraculous thing coming. It was going to be high-speed rail. It was going to get you from San Francisco to Los Angeles in 2 hours, and they were going to travel at 240 miles per hour. It was going to be $30 billion. And I knew that was not a good idea back then, and I voted no. However, it did pass on the ballot. So what we have today is Governor Brown has decided that is going to be his legacy, that this thing is going to get built. Never mind that it is now $68 billion and counting. They know it's not going to be able to get there within that time frame. And in my opinion, it is totally outdated technology, and it is going to just barrel through communities and really not be a good idea for many, many communities. With us out here, they decided that there was going to be a route coming through Santa Clarita, and it was going to be partly tunnel, partly above ground, and it was going to go through Sand Canyon area. It was going to go right past an elementary school, right past churches. It was going to take out homes in Sand Canyon, and that is still on the books. So we have been fighting very hard to make them understand that we as a community are not going to stand for this. Also, it would adversely impact the communities of Sunland, Tujunga, Shadow Hills. That community, city of San Fernando, they plan to go right down the middle of the city of San Fernando and pretty much take out a business district, come through Santa Clarita, take out churches and homes and schools here, and then continue on through Acton, Agua Dulce, through the middle of those communities and pretty much devastate those communities and then end up in Palmdale. So there have been public meetings. There have been, many opportunities for us to tell them. And I do use Ellesmere Canyon with them as a thing. When this community decides to stand up against something, you better watch out.
Yeah.
And we're not going to stand for that. So just recently, we've had all of the communities kind of pitted against one another, saying that, well, we want you to go through Santa Clarita so that you don't impact our community. and we're saying it shouldn't impact any community. So recently, I invited the folks from Sunland, Tujunga, and Shadow Hills, City of San Fernando, Acton, Agua Dulce, invited them to a meeting that we held here so that we could come together and be able to support one another, not fight one another, but speak as one voice. And we formed, this is a long one now, we formed the North Los Angeles County Communities Protection Coalition.
Nice. Yes.
We tried to think of something shorter, but that kind of just set it
that
off.
just flows better. Yeah.
So we did form that, and the High Speed Rail State Board came out here and had a meeting in Los Angeles, and we were able to garner over 320 people to come to that meeting, and 316 of them said, you cannot come barreling through our communities. And we offered them an alternative, and that is come into Burbank if you want to at the Burbank Airport, go underground, and come up in Palmdale.
Wow.
Now, all over the world, they've done tunneling. This is completely feasible. They can do it if they want to. And we're saying you better want to. So that's one of the things that we're pushing, and we probably are going to need the public's help down the road if they do not realize that they cannot come through all of those communities that I just mentioned and devastate all of us.
Yeah. That's amazing. Now, if you ever decide to do a name change, you could call the group the Don't Try It group.
That's a great one. I like that.
Here comes Don't Try It. Now, if it should get to the point where we as residents need to get involved, I have two questions. One, how can we now stay educated on this? And two, how would we get involved if we need to?
Right. Well, once again, I would like to direct you to the city's website. It's www.santa-clarita.com, and you don't even need the www anymore.
Right.
You just put santa-clarita.com. There will be notices on there. Right now, you can go on the website, learn the history of why we're fighting it, what we're doing, and we have something called e-notify. That's where you can go on the website, and there's a whole long list of subjects that if you're interested in any of them, you put a little check mark there, and you will receive an email from the city regarding that subject that you're interested in. And it will tell you exactly if we're putting forward another campaign. We recently decided we were going to have a community gathering, and we were able to get over 1,500 people to show up at Canyon High School. And the only reason there weren't more in the room was because of the parking. We didn't have enough parking. People couldn't find a place to park. But when we call on the community shows up. And I'm very, very proud of that.
I want to say thank you. My wife texted me during a commercial break, and she said to tell you thank you from her personally. You have proven that there is power in one voice. You have proven that there's power in numbers. You have proven that if you have a concern, you can do something about it. You don't have to just sit back and just take it. I'm again blown away, and I want to end it here. We need hours. We need days. We need to plan some kind of an evening with the mayor, some kind of dinner or something where we can just ask you questions and hear your history and listen to you talk. And I am so wanting to sponsor something like that. Before we go, you guys, as if Mayor McLean is not doing enough, she's also a part of Dancing with Our Stars. Santa Clarita Valley puts on this big event every year called Dancing with Our Stars. I don't know why they haven't called me. I'm trying to figure out who I need to get in touch with to get that initiative started. I'm going to get a group together about that. Why haven't you called Marlon Saunders for Dancing with Our Stars? As famous as he is, why haven't you called him? Our mayor is dancing in that. The city of Santa Clarita Mayor Marsha McLean dances for Bridge to Home. Now, Bridge to Home, incredible organization. I want you to go to this website right here, B as in boy, btohome.com. I want you to go to that website. Now, this event is August the 28th at the Performing Arts Center at COC. Now, we're asking everybody to donate $25. Donate $25 and to cast your vote. But please, please, please support Bridge to Home. Please support our mayor. Please donate $25 to this Dancing with Our Stars to cast your vote. And let's make this happen, you guys. There's so much more I wish we had time to talk about. But Mayor, thank you for taking time out of your schedule and taking time to be here. I really appreciate this. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank you. You've made me feel very, very welcome. And thank you for asking the questions you asked and giving me an opportunity to kind of just tell everybody what we're all about.
You guys, it doesn't get any better than this. Sat here all morning with my best friend. You see how I did that? I just made you my best friend just on the spot like that. Mayor Marsha McLean, thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your love and your support. Stay connected to me. Stay safe in this heat and just have a great, great, great weekend. Hey, if you want to connect with me later, I'll be at Bridgeport Park at 4 p.m. today. Bridgeport Park, our church, Valencia Christian Center, is putting on a softball game for our children, our youth, and our adults. So if you want to come up there, let me know. And the mayor, the next show, yes, I'm sorry, they were giving me notes last minute. Hey, Lorraine West is coming up next week. And then the week after that, Bob Keller. Thank you for that reminder. Lorraine West and Bob Keller. I got to go. Love y'all. The Marlon Saunders Show. Have a great weekend.